Hi, good morning, and welcome to Moina Bass Fishers. Although you might be watching this like at midnight. So anyhow, in that case, good midnight. All right, this is the preview for the Champion Tours Championship on Serpent Lake in Crosby, Minnesota, which will be occurring tomorrow on Thursday, September 1st. So let's just start off with the lake a little bit. First of all, the lake it's not frequently visited as far as a tournament destination, so I think the field of 25 anglers in this championship, most of us have not ever fished it until we started practicing for it during the official practice, which was last Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The lake has been off limits Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, which is today, before the tournament, which starts tomorrow. So it's located in Crosby, Minnesota. It's a lake of around 1,100 acres in size. There's no islands to it. There's a lot of but a lot of structure beneath the surface to fish. There's almost, what did it say, 8.9 miles of shoreline. The water's clear with a water clarity of, say maybe, I don't know, 7 feet or so right now, I would say, something to that extent. And as far as species, it's got largemouth and smallmouth, both of which will be a factor tomorrow. I would have to say there'll be a larger percentage of largemouth weighed as compared to smallmouth. However, the smallmouth do carry a substantially larger average size. So that's something that a competitor is going to have to factor in as well. This lake would be, it's got back to the shoreline. The shoreline's pretty much fully developed with landowners. So shoreline cover consists of docks. There are patches of lily pads here and there along the shoreline, in between docks. Once you get off on the structure, you got some gravel areas out deeper beyond the weed lines. You have some shallow gravel bars that right now seem to be covered up with algae. And then of course you have just a lot of native vegetation. You have zebra mussels, which I think were introduced just recently in the last few years. Accidentally. Nobody's putting these things in on purpose. And then as far as overall species, I mentioned the smallmouth, largemouth. Other species would include walleye, northern pike, which there's a lot of. There's yellow perch, there's bluegill, there's rock bass. Anglers will be catching a lot of rock bass. They're kind of in the sunfish family. If you're not familiar with those, I know on the East Coast they call rock bass striped bass, so it's a little different here. Our rock bass are called red eyes or goggle eyes, whatever, in other parts of the country. So anyhow, so that kind of covers there's crappie in the lake as well. And of course bullheads and a wide variety of minnow type species, including tulipy. So what are these bass going to be eating? Well, I did have one of my smallies I caught in practice spit up a crawdad right on my deck. So apparently they're eating some crawdads, but I think they're also eating minnows. A lot of these smallies tend to eat minnows in this type of lake. Various minnow shiner species. They might even get on the tulipy bite as well, because there are big bay clouds, which are probably, I don't really know what species those are, but probably guess a tulipy, but maybe, who knows, they could be some kind of shiner species as well. But they do show up on your electronics, like my Lowrance here. They'll show up on my side scan, down scan on my Lowrance. They'll show up on my active target on my Lowrance. So, and you'll actually witness the predator fish, like on my active target, you witness the predator fish moving in on these clouds. It's kind of interesting to see that. So, and And then just one other interesting thing to note is, according to one of the property owners on shore, all the northern pike are eating all of the walleye in the lake. That was her concern, which, if that was the case, why does Lake of the Woods have any walleye in it? Because, if we're trying to make it, trying to decide if this property owner really knows what they're talking about, Lake of the Woods is a lake that has lots of northern pike and muskie. So why is Lake of the Woods a top-notch walleye lake? No, my response to this property owner was, no, I don't think it's the northern pike eating all the walleyes. I think it's all the fishermen and lakeshore owners that are out here fishing eating all the walleyes. And that's probably more likely the case, if you ask me. Because why would the northern pike just pick on the walleye? That's the other argument. Why are there plenty of bass? Why aren't the northern pike eating the bass? They would rather eat a walleye than a bass. There's plenty of sunfish. Why are the pike preferring to eat walleye over the sunfish? Are the pike preferring to eat the walleye as compared to all the bay clouds of minnows I've seen out there? So yeah, it's rumors and myths like that drive your Department of Natural Resource fisheries biologists. It's that kind of just bogus info that drives them crazy, and that kind of talk is just a little old for me as well. So anyways, on to the next subject. The format of this tournament, let's just review that real quick. It's going to be the format that the Major League Fishing Bass Pro Tour uses, where you catch a fish, you weigh it you have an official in your boat, whether you call him official or marshal, whatever. That person weighs it, and these are volunteers, by the way. They weigh it, they record it in the Champions Tour's Real Live Well app. You can get that on Google Store if you want to follow along. And then we also record it on paper. So and the winner is determined by the total weight of all the fish you catch throughout the day. Typically there's 2 sessions in their tournaments. They divide the lake in half. The full field fishes one part of the day. The full field fishes the other half, the other part of the day. So considering this is an 1,100 acre lake with only 9 miles of shoreline, and there's adequate structure out there, but still, considering the small size of this lake for the field that we have, they may slightly vary from this fish this half in the morning and this half in the afternoon kind of a thing that they typically do. For example, when we had our championship on Bay Lake a couple years ago, what they did that year is the anglers they still did split the lake in half, but the anglers at the pre-tournament registration and this was like a secret ballot, you wrote down what section you wanted to fish in the morning, and then what section you wanted to fish in the afternoon. And then it didn't matter if it was an uneven split. Okay, that's just how it went down. So if they do it that way, there's 25 guys, so realistically, you could end up with 20 guys on one half of the lake and only 5 guys on the other half, if that's how guys prefer it to be. So that'll be an interesting choice if that is our choice we are presented with. Okay, so that's the format. Now, let's talk about my practice. I had 3 days to practice, and I like how I went about this in practice. I liked my strategy. Of course, with 1,100 acre lake, even then I felt like I wanted another day out there. With 1,100 acres, I'm sure a lot of these guys are sick of it after 3 days. Personally, I wanted more, but that's just because I wanted to know every inch of that lake, because I always do. I mean, to me, my knowledge base is the knowledge base of a given lake can be unlimited. I mean, there's just always more to learn, and that's why I love tournament fishing, because it never gets boring to me. It's always, the fish are always changing. It's dynamic. All the lakes are different. But anyways, it's a whole nother video probably. So anyhow, day one, I decided, and it was a Friday, so this was part of my decision as to why I chose to do this. What I did is I fished the entire perimeter of the lake shallow, basically shoreline cover, in which was the docks, lily pads, and some of the shallow gravel reefs. And the reason why I decided to do that the first day is, one, and this is the most important reason, it was Friday. There's a lot of weekend vacationers that have property on this lake. So I was going to be able to do this in the absence of people swimming around on their beaches, swimming around their docks, boating from their docks. I was going to get, be the least interrupted in what I wanted to do by choosing Friday. The other thing was, Friday was a sunny day, so that's going to push the fish onto the docks, push the fish into the shoreline lily pads. The other thing, it was probably the calmest of the 3 days, so when I was fishing the docks, I was going to have the least problem targeting, putting my cast right where I wanted to. The waves weren't going to, my bait wasn't going to hit a wave and jump up over the dock and completely screw up my cast. Even though that happened, did happen a few times, it just so happens I had a bad cast where, I hooked somebody's dog, and no, I didn't do that. But I did do bad casts. I did not hook anybody's dog, like I hooked that cat that one time down on Logan Martin Lake in Alabama. But anyways, so that was day one strategy. So then my next part of my strategy, and it took me all day to do that 9 miles, all day. I did finish the day by fishing 2 points, because I had a little bit of daylight left, maybe a half hour or so, 40 minutes, and so my next move was then to fish all the obvious points on my mapping, because what I learned, I don't know, just from what I know, points this time of year can be a key thing. And so I'm not going to talk about what I found I'm not going to talk about how well I did. I'm just telling you this is what I did, okay? Because I'm trying to, keep this a secret, keep things on the hush-hush as far as how successful I was in my tactics. So I fished, so then on day 2 was all about fishing all the underwater structure and mainly targeting the points on all these structures. I'd do the point, and then if it went to a straight line, I skipped that straight line and I just went to the next point or hump, or just keying on key structure, okay? Not trying to get caught up too much and fishing long straight lines of nothingness, which sometimes those weed lines can be good, but I was saving that for the end. So day 3, I wanted to save day 3. So by the time I got with day 2, I hadn't fished everything yet, all them points yet, okay? All the structure that I wanted to check. I boast a lot of it, but not all of it. So day 3 was continuing the same as day 2. And then the plan was to switch over and fish all the inside turns that I liked on the map. Well, I ended up just getting too caught up and working on technique and wasting some time. So I got to some inside turns by the end of the day, but not as many as I wanted to, which is why I wish I had more practice time. So, because I didn't get to near as many inside turns as I'd like to. They can hold fish, a good inside turn can hold fish at any time of year, in my mind. So, and I didn't get to all of them. So that was my practice strategy, and I saw a lot of lake. I mean, I know where I can expect to catch some largemouths. I know where I can expect to catch some smallmouths. I'm not going to disclose how I feel about each one of those. It's just, that's what I know. All right, so now let's get into, I took notes. All right, made a little outline, by the way. Okay, now we're going to get into predictions. Okay, this is what people like to sink their teeth into. So what do I predict? First of all, I think there's more largemouths in this lake than there are smallmouths. However, the smallmouths carry a substantially larger average size than the largemouths. So, I don't think an angler can just say, hey, I'm just going largemouth fishing, or hey, I'm just going smallmouth fishing. I think you're going to have to mix it up. And the other thing that leads to the mix-up thing is it's a small lake, 25 boats. We're all fishing the same structure out there. Okay, there's going to be a lot of used water that you're going to have to run. Okay, so that's why it's going to be important to have smallmouth and largemouth, because if you happen to be out of smallmouth options, you want to have some largemouth options. As far as, maybe your couple favorite smallmouth spots that already have boats on them, but over here you got a place where you like largemouth fishing. Well, then you have that option to go do the largemouths, or vice versa. You got this smallmouth spot over here you like. Your largemouth water's covered up with people, but you got the smallmouth option. Go catch those smallies. So that's why it's going to be a mixture. Plus, I happened to catch some largemouths where I was smallmouth fishing, and I caught some smallmouths where I was largemouth fishing. So there is a little bit of just overlap in habitat as well. But overall, I'd say it'll be probably more largemouths. It just seems like there's just a higher population in the lake of largemouths. All right, so with that being said, now a little bit back to this fishing used water, fishing pressured water. This tournament is going to be a tournament where technique and presentation really determine the ultimate outcome, determine the winner. I mean, obviously you're gonna have to be fishing good, you're gonna have to be fishing good water, but a lot of guys are gonna be fishing the same water. A lot of guys are gonna be fishing the same good water, and that's when technique comes down to. That's when the technique is really. The emphasis on that is just increased. So, and there's gonna be a little bit of luck on getting on the spots you want, but it's gonna be technique, because you're gonna be fishing behind people. You'll be fishing around people. Plus, these fish have seen a bunch of baits, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so they got hammered on those 3 days. So it's going to be who's got the best technique, who really puts this thing together. I don't think anybody's going to run away with this tournament. I think it's going to be a close call to the end, with probably among there's probably going to be like 4 or 5 guys, right? Moving into the last hour of this tournament, there's probably going to be still, probably like 5 or 6 guys that are going to have a good shot at winning it, and they're all going to be within a few fish of first place. So it'll be an exciting tournament. I'm kind of excited about this tournament, even though it's going to be a crowded, fishing around other guys kind of a tournament. Just the fact that, there's just layers to it that brings into that extra, that crowdedness, that extra fishing pressure brings in that layer, that element. And it's going to be a tight tournament. There's going to be several guys in contention going into the last hour or the last session. So that'll make for an exciting viewing. So what else? The winning weight. Okay, yeah. What am I predicting to be the winning weight? I don't think. I don't think we're going to see a winning weight as high as the last tournament on Gull Lake, partly because of the pressure. If I was to go out there on a non-tournament day, just with the regular local fishing pressure out there, a guy could do really well. But you're not going to have that because all the best spots are going to be cover-up boats. All the best spots are going to be seeing baits all day long. So it's going to be a little tougher and the weights aren't going to be as high as like Gull Lake was. In fact, we'll probably see our lowest winning weight of the year is my prediction. So it may be something, if it gets over 60 pounds, that would be good. I think it's going to be somewhere probably in the mid 50s. Now let me just think about this. If a guy catches 20 fish in each session, that's 40 fish, and that at a pound and a half a piece, that's going to be 60 some pounds. See, I don't think the winner's going to have 20 fish a session. It's probably going to be more like 15 a session, so that's 30 fish. 30 fish times 2 is about 60 pounds. So yeah, somewhere between 55 and 60 pounds is my winning prediction. Sounds about right. And getting 15 fish a session, based on my practice, is going to be a challenge. It's possible, but I always, I always set that goal. How many can I catch this session? How many can I catch that session? And I always, just about every time, I fall short of that goal. And to me, 15 fish, for me to get 15 fish in each session, scoreable fish, is being optimistic, but it's possible. Somebody's probably going to do it, so might as well be me. All right, let's throw a name out there. Who do I think is going to win this tournament? How can I pose that question without naming myself first, right? So it's not arrogance. I guess maybe to a degree it's arrogance, but don't you have to vote yourself number one for every tournament you're going into? I mean, you got to have that belief. You got to have that confidence and that belief that, hey, I can do this. I'm capable of doing this. And especially in my case, fishing natural lakes in Minnesota is just, it's just something I'm comfortable with. And everybody here is comfortable with it. And that's the thing. And that's the other thing. This is a new, most of these guys haven't fished tournaments there. I haven't fished a tournament here. So it is kind of new. So it is kind of wide open in that sense. But, I don't know. I feel like, I'm comfortable with this lake. There's a few, like I said, I wish there was a little bit more I knew about it, but fairly comfortable with it. It did present a few frustrations, but those frustrations are probably going to be seen by other anglers as well. But why not me? It's nothing that I can't handle. So let's take me out of the picture, okay? I got to throw this name out there. First of all, a lot of these names, a lot of these guys, I'm not familiar with who they are. Sorry, guys. I'm not good with names. I'm not good with faces. I haven't been doing a deep dive in Minnesota tournament fishing over the last several years. So a lot of the guys, I flat out just don't know who they are. I don't know their styles of fishing, and But, and I don't know who this guy is that I'm predicting, although I know his performance. And that would be Noah Schultz. He won the Gull Lake tournament. This lake Serpent Lake could fish very similar to Gull Lake tournament. Bay Lake a couple of years ago, he won that one. That lake set up similar to Gull. That lake, Bay Lake, sets up similar to Serpent. Noah Schultz knows how to catch bass out of this type of lake. And it bugs the hell out of me that he's got this figured out better than the rest of us, but that's the name I will go with. If I don't win it, he's probably, I mean, he's almost a shoo-in for the top 5 in my book. And like I said, a lot of these guys I don't know, but a few other names, you know, John Figge, the Honorable Mr. John Figge. He's another guy that does well on this type of lake, this type of situation, from what I've seen in the past. There's another pro circuit level angler in the field, Chad Grigsby. He grew up in Michigan, fishing Michigan's natural lakes. I'm sure this lake's not that unfamiliar to him. I'm sure he's going to be a threat. Matt Thompson, who's our Angler of the Year leader, he's been hot all year long. I've seen him do well he did well at that Bay Lake Championship. He might have been second or third in that one. So obviously, and they did well at Gull, so obviously he knows how to fish these types of lakes. So how can I not include him in the mix? And you know, let's just leave it at that. But really, just about any, you know how it goes. Any one of us can pull it out, really. So a lot of good anglers in this field. So, okay, other than that, man, my outline is covered. I got nothing else to say other than I'll be at the tournament registration later. Got to head over there. And, oh, I do got to say this, okay? Now, they don't live stream this like they do some of the national tournaments I do. However, they do keep a live leaderboard. So when somebody in the field catches a fish and gets posted on the app, it goes to the app and the leaderboard is adjusted accordingly, according to the app. So the app is Real Live Well. So you can get that at your favorite app store and follow along with that. And then also, they have they do video updates throughout the day, and they post these videos on the website. The website is classicbass.com. So I don't know, do they? I don't know if they keep the live leaderboard on classicbass.com as well. I do not know, but that's possibly another place, and that's a source. Maybe that's where you can get some video feeds that are taped throughout the day, and or maybe they show up on the app too. I guess I don't really know. I'm fishing during these tournaments. I'm not following along, so I don't know some of the details. But that is what I know. For what it's worth, over.